Hye Kyo was spotted without Lee Minho's ring. It might sound trivial at first, but you know how these things go. When it comes to celebrities like them, fans notice everything. Every glance, every accessory, every subtle change. And when that ring, the one that had become a symbol of their bond, suddenly vanished from her finger, the internet exploded. Heart emojis turned into crying emojis, and comment sections became a flurry of speculation. What does this mean? Are they okay? Is this the start of something we don't want to see? First, some people tried to calm themselves. Maybe it's just the angle of the photo, some said. Maybe she just took it off for comfort or filming. But as more photos surfaced, showing her hand from different angles, the reality was impossible to ignore. The ring was gone. And suddenly, fans started reading into everything. Her smile, her posture, the way she carried herself. Something had shifted. People described her as looking distant. Not sad, not angry, just different. And that single word set off waves of anxiety. The ring itself is not just a piece of jewelry. For many fans, it symbolized hope, commitment, and the deep bond between Hye Kyo and Lee Minho. It appeared during a period when their love seemed unshakable, a time when everything felt aligned and harmonious. So when it disappeared, it felt like something fundamental had been taken away, leaving fans feeling anxious, heartbroken, even a little betrayed. The theories started pouring in. Some assumed this was the first visible sign of a breakup. Others reminded themselves not to panic, that removing a ring doesn't always mean the end. But then the expression on Hye Kyo's face in the photos, quiet, reserved, thoughtful, made people wonder. Was this just a private, personal choice, or a sign of something deeper? Let's pause here for a moment. Removing a ring, especially one with such significance, is not necessarily a breakup signal. Actors like Hye Kyo often take off jewelry for filming, comfort, or to separate their professional and personal lives. And coincidentally, around the same time, she had begun a project described as intense, emotional, and deeply personal. Could it be that she simply wanted to focus on her work without any distractions? Fans want it to be that simple, but the absence of the ring alone sparks speculation far beyond what anyone imagined. What makes this situation even more complicated is Lee Minho's reaction, or rather, the lack of it. He's been quiet, but not in a way that suggests anger or distance. Observers have noticed he's more introspective lately, focused, less publicly playful. Some say it's stress, others call it maturity. But when you combine his silence with her missing ring, it's easy to see why fans are nervous. And yet, there are no signs of tension. No unfollowing, no cold comments, no public disputes. The two continue to communicate privately, away from prying eyes. And in the midst of this uncertainty, the fandom is torn between fear and hope. Some see this as a possible transition, a moment of growth rather than a breakup. Love doesn't always need to be shouted from the rooftops. Sometimes the healthiest love is quiet, private, and subtle. Maybe removing the ring is a way for the couple to reclaim their space, to protect their relationship from the intense scrutiny that comes with being in the public eye. But that uncertainty, the what if, is what keeps everyone on edge. Fans who've followed them for years can't help but worry. They've invested emotionally in this love story, hoping for a happy ending, hoping that timing and destiny finally worked in favor of these two. Seeing a symbol of that love disappear, even temporarily, feels like a punch to the gut. Comments on social media reflect this emotional roller coaster. The ring meant hope, one fan wrote. Seeing it gone feels like losing faith. Another said, if this is the end, I wish they'd tell us gently. It's not just celebrity gossip. It's the reflection of how much we invest in stories of love that inspire and comfort us. Yet some fans remain hopeful. They remind themselves that strong relationships don't always look strong to outsiders. Sometimes the quietest love is the strongest. Taking off a ring might not be a sign of distance. It might be a choice to focus, to protect, or to evolve together in private. It's also worth considering that this could be a temporary phase. Maybe they agreed to remove visible symbols to reduce external pressure. Maybe it's a conscious decision to step into the next chapter of their relationship without the weight of constant scrutiny. Change can feel alarming, especially when it's unexpected, but not all change is a bad sign. Still, the unknown lingers. The yet that keeps fans awake at night. The lack of explanation. The silence that makes hearts race. That's why every gesture, every subtle post, every absence becomes magnified in the eyes of the fandom. And that's why we're here, talking about it, analyzing it, trying to make sense of the emotions this couple's lives stir in millions of people. Song Hye Kyo and Lee Min-ho represent second chances, hope, and love that endures. That's why a missing ring feels like so much more than a piece of jewelry. It's a symbol of dreams and expectations, of faith in happy endings. As we wait for clarity, the kindest thing we can do is remember that love doesn't always follow a script. Sometimes the quiet moments, the pauses, and even the confusing turns are all part of a bigger private story that only the people involved can fully understand. So I want to hear from you, lovely viewers. When you saw the photos, what did you feel? Did your heart drop? Did you hope it was just a temporary thing? Or did a wave of fear hit you instantly? Share your thoughts, your hopes, your theories, because this story isn't just about them. It's about how deeply we all connect to love, hope, and the idea of second chances. Until the next update, let's hold space for uncertainty, for privacy, and for the possibility that not all shocking turns are tragic ones. Sometimes love simply learns how to breathe quietly, and maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what Song Hye Kyo and Lee Min-ho are doing. Even as the photos circulated, there were those who urged caution, reminding everyone that what we see on social media or in snapshots is only a fragment of reality. Love, after all, is messy, private, and complicated, and no single image can capture the full story. Some fans shared messages that were both thoughtful and heartwarming. Maybe she just wanted a moment to herself. This doesn't erase all the love we've seen between them. Let's give them space, but hold on to hope. And hope, in this fandom, has always been a powerful force. It's what kept millions of people invested, what made their love story feel personal, like we were witnessing something sacred. Fans posted compilations of memories, every subtle glance in interviews, every shared laugh, every occasion where the couple's closeness was undeniable. Those moments became tiny anchors, reminders that love isn't always visible, that absence doesn't automatically equal ending. Still, the anxiety was real. Messages poured in from viewers who confessed their fears. I can't stop thinking about it. It feels like everything changed in a second. I hope this isn't the beginning of the end. And the comments weren't just about fear. They were about connection. People shared their own experiences of love and uncertainty, creating a space where the fandom became a community, supporting one another even as they worried about their favorite couple. Meanwhile, insiders hinted at behind-the-scenes truths without giving away too much. A source close to the actors mentioned that Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo had been spending time apart professionally, each immersed in demanding projects, and that removing the ring could have been practical. It's not a statement about their love, the source said. It's about focus, boundaries, and self-care. That subtle perspective helped some fans breathe again, realizing that love can survive even when it's not on display. And yet, curiosity persisted. Questions began to swirl. Is this a transitional moment, one that reflects a deeper evolution of their relationship? Could this be an intentional act to shield their connection from public pressure? Or is it something more complicated, something that we might only understand years from now? Each possibility sparked discussion, reflection, and even debates among fans. In those discussions, a beautiful truth emerged. The fandom itself was learning to embrace uncertainty. People realized that they could care deeply, hope fervently, and still respect the privacy of the couple. Comments like, "I'll keep believing in them, even if I don't understand every choice," or "Love isn't always performative. It's quiet, it's private, it's patient," began to dominate the conversation. And slowly, the collective energy shifted from panic to empathy, from fear to thoughtful support. Even media outlets, which initially amplified rumors of tension, started highlighting the nuances. Articles and reports began to emphasize that actors' lives are complex, and that public perception often oversimplifies reality. Some journalists pointed out that in the age of social media, even minor gestures, a missing ring, a changed hairstyle, a quiet smile, can be blown out of proportion. And that, in itself, became a reminder to fans. Appearances can be deceiving, and love is often quieter than headlines suggest. Meanwhile, Minho and Hye Kyo's loyal followers continued to analyze content with care. Some noticed subtle touches, a comment, a shared memory, a private smile, that hinted their bond was intact. Others speculated about future appearances, hoping that the couple would address their fans directly, not out of obligation but to reassure the people who had invested emotionally in their journey. This moment, though shocking, also became an opportunity for reflection. Fans began to explore broader themes: how love requires patience, how relationships evolve, and how the absence of a symbol doesn't automatically erase the meaning behind it. Discussions ranged from personal anecdotes to philosophical musings, creating a space where the community could process emotions collectively. And in that space, empathy flourished. Some viewers shared intimate stories of their own relationships, relating to the mix of fear and hope that surfaced when something familiar changes unexpectedly. "Seeing her without the ring made me think about how love sometimes requires letting go of symbols, but not the bond itself," wrote one fan. "I realized it's okay to feel anxious, but it doesn't mean it's over." These reflections reminded everyone that this story wasn't just about celebrities. It was about universal experiences of connection, trust, and resilience. As the days passed, social media became a tapestry of hope, reflection, and patience. Fans created videos, posts, and comment threads filled not with panic, but with thoughtful engagement. They celebrated small signs, speculated gently, and waited respectfully. It was as if the fandom had matured overnight, learning to honor love even in moments of uncertainty. And then came whispers from a few insiders. Hints that left hearts racing but didn't confirm anything. Some claimed the couple had been discussing future plans, personal growth, and ways to strengthen their bond privately. Others suggested that the missing ring might symbolize a temporary phase, a pause, or a subtle adjustment to life's new rhythm. Nothing was official, nothing was confirmed, but the possibility of continuity rekindled hope. Fans, of course, latched onto every tiny detail, analyzing interviews, social media posts, and public appearances. And in doing so, they discovered something unexpected. Even in the absence of a visible symbol, the essence of their relationship, the love, trust, and mutual respect, remained palpable. It wasn't in a ring. It wasn't in headlines. It was in the moments, the smiles, and the shared life that the world only glimpses. This inclusive, evolving understanding gave the fandom a sense of agency. Rather than succumbing to fear, people learned to coexist with ambiguity, to embrace hope even in uncertainty. They realized that love stories, especially those lived under public scrutiny, require space, patience, and respect. And in that realization there was comfort, solidarity, and even inspiration. So, lovely viewers, as we continue to watch this story unfold, let's remember what truly matters. The people behind the images, the depth of their bond, and the humanity that exists beyond the lens of speculation. Symbols come and go, rumors flare and fade, but love, the quiet, patient, and enduring kind, has its own rhythm, often invisible, yet profoundly real. And here's the beauty of this moment. It's not just about Hye Kyo and Minho. It's about us, the viewers, learning to engage with love, uncertainty, and empathy in ways that enrich our own lives. It's about recognizing that even when things seem unclear, there is always space for hope, patience, and understanding. So, as we wait for the next chapter,
lovely viewers,
let's hold on to that space. How has this moment changed your perspective on love, relationships,
not out of fear, but out of shared humanity and care,
with respecting
because
privacy?
in the end, this
Share
story
your thoughts
is
in the
bigger than a
comments
missing
because
ring.
your voice is part
It's a
of the
reminder
story
that
too.
love is not
The
always
next
what we
update
see,
might be just
but
around
what we
the corner.
feel, honor,
A
and
smile,
protect,
a post,
whether in public
or even
or
a quiet
private.
gesture could reveal the next chapter. And when it does, we'll be here, together, celebrating, reflecting, and navigating this journey with patience, empathy, and love. Because sometimes the most profound love stories are the ones that teach us how to wait, how to hope, and how to honor what is truly precious, even when it isn't visible to the world. And that idea, quiet, patient love, has never been more relevant for the fans following Song Hye Kyo and Minho. Since that moment when the ring disappeared, the conversations have evolved. They've grown from instant panic to thoughtful reflection, a reminder that our own interpretations can sometimes cloud the truth. People have realized that love is not a spectacle. It's not a series of public gestures. It's complex, private, and often invisible to the world. Social media has become a fascinating mirror of human emotion in this story. The threads of discussions, originally fueled by shock and worry, slowly transformed into spaces of empathy. Fans began sharing their own experiences with love, separation, and hope. One viewer wrote, "I once lost my partner's ring, not because love was gone, but because life got busy. Seeing her without it doesn't mean the end." Another commented, "Sometimes love isn't about what you see, it's about what you feel, what you trust even when nothing is obvious." And with every shared memory, the community became more inclusive, more understanding, more patient. What's remarkable is how these conversations brought people together across the world. From Asia to Europe, from North America to Africa, fans shared their insights, reflections, and emotions. They debated whether the missing ring signaled a transition, a personal choice, or simply a pause in symbolism. And in those discussions, one thing became clear. Love is not a uniform experience. It is diverse, multifaceted, and sometimes incomprehensible to outsiders. Insiders, too, have added layers to the story, carefully hinting without confirming. Some say the couple has been deeply focused on their individual projects, maintaining communication in ways that fans rarely see. Others suggest that removing the ring could be a conscious decision to relieve pressure, an acknowledgement that love sometimes thrives best when it is shielded from constant scrutiny. These whispers offer hope, but they also remind us how much we don't know. And perhaps that's the lesson here. The beauty of a relationship is not determined by constant visibility. Song Hye Kyo and Minho have lived under intense public attention for years, and yet their love has endured. Even when the world watches, they have maintained a private space, a sanctuary for their connection. The missing ring might not be a symbol of heartbreak, but of protection, of boundaries, of love preserved quietly. Fans, however, continue to analyze every detail, every subtle signal. The way Song Hye Kyo smiles in interviews, the way Minho responds to mentions of her name, the tiny gestures, the shared memories in public appearances. Each of these is dissected, reinterpreted, and celebrated as a sign that their bond remains strong. Some fans have even started compiling timelines, noting the moments before and after the ring disappeared, and looking for patterns that might indicate continuity rather than separation. There's also a growing recognition among the fandom that love isn't linear. Relationships evolve, and sometimes those evolutions are uncomfortable to watch from the outside. A missing ring can mean many things. A practical choice, a symbolic pause, a step toward deeper intimacy, or even an experimental phase where the couple explores life apart without fear of losing what they share. And that recognition has fostered empathy, a reminder that even celebrities deserve room to navigate their lives without immediate judgment. In these discussions, fans have begun reflecting on their own experiences. Messages pour in daily. Stories of long-distance relationships, moments of uncertainty, and the courage it takes to trust someone through silence. Watching them has made me more patient in my own love life, one fan confessed. I've learned that love doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it grows quietly in moments we barely notice. Another wrote, "Their love teaches me that absence doesn't equal loss, and privacy doesn't equal distance."